Hello everybody, my name is JumboTunes, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make a simple 4-frame animation door in Minecraft. This uses the /clone command, and you will be needing all of the blocks you see in my inventory, with some optional secondary blocks here. We're going to want to go ahead and start this build by making a small area for us to do here. We have a 7x4 for the 4 frames of our animation. We have a segment for our commands that is 10 blocks in this direction and 7 blocks in this direction. And then we have a 1x4 here for our final output. This is going to be the door that you're actually going to be walking through. So I'd recommend placing this 1x4 in any place that you really want to put it in for like a final design or something. So if you wanted to put this door in like a house or something, I'd recommend placing this contraption wherever you want that to be inside the house. We're going to start this build by building our frames. I can mark them by going 1, skip a block, 1, skip a block, 1, skip a block, 1. So these are our 4 frames that we are going to be building off of. The only reason I put a gap, normally you wouldn't need a gap, but I'm using walls as my actual door frame, so if we had a wall in between it, it would connect, and the clone command would add this connection, and we don't want that. So I'm putting a space between them. If you wanted to use non-wall blocks, you'd be perfectly fine here, but I just like having the gap, so it's, it also makes it easier to run the commands. So that being said, we can go ahead and begin on the frame. I'm going to build up 1, 2, 3, 4, build over 2, and then build up the rest of this. We should have a 3 tall door and a 2 wide door, so you can just walk in and out of this. Super easy. And for this first frame, we're going to want to fill it in with our wall blocks. You can use any block you want. You can use sandstone if you'd like. It really does not matter, but it just has to be closed. This first frame is closed. This is our frame 0. The second frame is going to be pretty much the exact same. We're going to build up our little arch right here, and we're going to fill it up almost entirely. We should see just barely a gap here. So this is frame 0, this is frame 1. Now for the third frame, we're going to build up the same arch, but this time we're going to make it even more open. So it goes completely closed, slightly open, a little larger open, and then this final one, if you could guess it, is completely open. We added no wall blocks inside of here. This you can perfectly walk in and out of perfectly fine. Now that the frames are done, we can go ahead and set up our little platform over here. I'd recommend having a floor in here already, unless you want to add a floor underneath there. You can alter the commands however you'd like to include the floor, but for these purposes, I will not be doing that. But what you're going to want to do is on the leftmost block in the door frame, you're going to want to place a single temporary block. It can be pretty much any block, it doesn't really matter. It'll be replaced eventually, but you're just going to want to have a single block right here. And now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and move on to the commands. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to place in this corner, in between this 10 and the 7 row, we're going to want to place a repeating command block up like this. Unfortunately, we cannot use chain command blocks in this one because they just work too quickly in the same tick. So we actually do need some timings for this if we want to get it completely accurate. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to place a comparator right here and right here, facing out from the thing. The 2 prongs on either one should be facing towards the repeating command block. For this side, the 10 side, we're going to want to start it by putting a lime wool next to this comparator, and then putting a redstone torch off of that lime wool. Now from that redstone torch, we're going to place a redstone repeater, then a command block, then a second redstone repeater, and then 2 command blocks like this, stacked on top of each other. Now we're going to want to place a final redstone repeater, and then 2 final command blocks here. These ones on the top will signify the sound and the particle animation that comes with it. Now for the 7 side, we're going to want to start this by placing a command block right off of this comparator. We're going to place a redstone repeater right off of that command block, another command block, another repeater, and then a final command block. If you would like to add sound to this design, I would recommend putting another command block on top of this first one here. Now to actually work on the commands. The way we do this is we use the /clone command, which if you saw my last video, which showcased this repeater timer, you're going to want to use pretty much the exact same command to clone this. We're going to want to go to the bottom left corner of the first frame, which is the completely closed one. We're going to look at the bottom block, and we're going to press the / button to bring up the chat menu, and we're going to type /clone space tab tab tab. Now you're going to want to press Control A, Control C, and now you can exit the menu. Then we're going to go to the top right of this build. We're going to enter the chat menu by pressing T, and then pressing Control V to paste in the command. Now we're going to press space, tab, 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 and then copy everything by pressing Control A and Control C. Now you can also exit the menu. Then we're going to go over to this block, this temporary block that we placed right here. We're going to press T, and we're going to paste in the command, press space one more time, and tab, tab, tab to fill in the coordinates. Now we can press Control A, Control C, and we're done with this command. Because this is frame 0, this is the last frame that will be played because it is the closing command, we are going to place it all the way in the back here on this bottom one right here. So we can go ahead and paste this command in, press done, and now we're done with this frame. This frame is completely done. We don't have to worry about this anymore. Now we go to the second frame, which is why I encourage you to put a gap in between each one. We're going to go in between here into the second frame, and we're going to restart the process. We're going to go into our chat menu, we're going to write /clone, tab, 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 Control A, Control C, and then exit the menu. Then go to the top here, press T, paste it in, press space, tab, 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 Control A, Control C, and we exit the menu. Then we go over to this placement block right here, press Control A, Control V, space, tab, 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 Control A, Control C, and now this is the second frame done. Now the thing about the second frame is this one is actually pretty useful. We use it in 2 locations instead of just one for the final frame. So it goes in this second to last one right here, because this is the second to last frame that is being closed. But it also goes in the first command block over here, because this is signaling the opening of the closed door. This is the opening loop, and this is the closing loop. Now that we're done with that, we're going to want to go to the third frame. We're going to do the exact same thing. You write /clone, space, tab, 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 Control A, Control C, and then we're going to want to hover over this, Control V, space, tab, 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 Control A, Control C. Now we go to our final block. We T, Control V, space, tab, 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 Control A, Control C, and now we're done with this. Now this, same thing with the second one right here. We go one over from the last one, so this one's already done. We're going to go to this one right here, and we're going to paste this in. Same thing as the last one as well. We're going to go, this one's already completed, so we're going to go to this command block, the second command block on the opening command, and we are going to paste in this command. And now we're done with that one. Now for our final opening command, we're going to run the exact same thing we've been doing before by writing /clone, space, tab, 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 Control A, Control C, and we're going to look at the top bit, T, Control V, space, tab, 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 Control A, look at this block, T, Control V, space, tab, 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 Control A, Control C, then we're going to want to go to this final command block right here, paste it in, and then we're done. Now, notice we will not be using this for this command chain right here, because the closing command does not require this frame. The closing one only uses this one, and this one, and the opening command only uses this one, and this one. Now, finally, you can go into the link in description and get a final command, which we will be using to run this repeating command block. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look at the center block in between these 2 blocks in your final position where this is going to be. This is where the door frame is going to be at the final position. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look in between the 2 blocks in the center, and you're going to want to press T. You're going to want to paste in the command, and where it says 000, or where it says the position marker, you're going to want to press on the right one, backspace, 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 up until it's over, and then you're going to look at the 3 marked coordinates, and you're going to want to press on them. You don't really have to be that accurate with it. I just like to, for like simplicity's sake. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to get rid of this 0.48 and turn this into 0.50, just so it rounds to the nearest 5. Now, this command's entirely done, but I'm going to go through explaining what happens here. So this /execute command executes the command of running if there's an entity nearby at this specific location. If you were to just use the execute if entity at edistance.3, it would run at this command block, but we don't want that. We want it to run specifically at this moment to check if there's a player nearby. Once it starts the command running at this specific point, it runs an execute to say if there is an entity within 3 blocks. So the distance equals 0.3 means if there is an entity within 3 blocks, run the command. You can change this 3 to whatever you'd like. If you put it at 1, every entity within 1 block would activate the command. If you put it at 5, every entity within 5 blocks would run the command. It really doesn't matter. And if you wanted to exclude certain entities from running through here, if you didn't want an Enderman getting into your base, all you would have to do is go here and then write comma type equals exclamation point Enderman, and that would exclude an Enderman from running this activity. But what we can do from here is now that we have our coordinates, we can press Control A, Control C, and now we can paste this into our repeating command block. Make sure that this is set to always active, and then you press done. And as you can see, if we turn around, the command has already started working. If we take a look, whenever we get close, it starts running the command, and when we get far away, it closes the door. But now you may notice there is no animation that comes with the closing of the door, and there's also no sounds associated with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the information that we used from our last command to run some animation on the bottom here to show little particle effects. Now these are completely optional, you do not need this to run the door, but I think it makes it a whole lot nicer to look at. What you're going to want to do to get the sound effect for this first one is you're going to want to look at the center block like you did before. You make sure to be within range so that the door actually opens while you're doing this. Make sure to look at the center block, press T, and paste in the command provided in the description. It's going to play the sound of an item shield breaking. So this is the sound that we're going to be using for this one. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to this coordinate menu, and you're going to want to click on the first 3 coordinates here. So this one for me, it is 12.50, 56.00, and 20.00. This should be the exact same coordinates that you got for the repeating command block, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter where you put it, as long as it's in the general vicinity. You're going to want to make sure it's set to ambient, and then it selects everyone, so that everyone can hear it no matter where they are, if they're within range. The volume is set to 0.3 because we don't want it to be too loud, and the pitch is set to 0.1 because normally the shield break sound is not that pleasant. So we're going to want to use this command with these new coordinates. We're going to want to press Control A, Control C, and then we can exit the menu. Then we're going to want to walk over to this second command block tower, and we're going to want to paste in the command here, and then press done. Now this is the exit sound completely done. You can hear the sound play right there. We're going to do a super similar thing when it comes to the particles. We are going to press T, and we're going to paste in this command. And now this first yellow set of coordinates is what we're going to want to change. You can go ahead and delete the stuff that is provided for you, and you're going to want to look at the 3 digits right here. Now again, this one you need to be a little bit more precise, so I'd recommend rounding it to the nearest 0.5. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put 0.05, and now we can test it by running the command. And you see it puts a little bit of particles over here that shows that the door is shut. Now you can Control A, Control C, and then you can escape the menu. Then we're going to go to the farthest tower, and we're going to paste it in. Now that's the closing sounds and animation completely done. What we're going to want to do for the final thing is we're going to want to add a sound animation to the opening of this door. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to place ourselves in the center again, we're going to open up the text menu, and we're going to paste in the command provided. Notice how this sound is a different sound than what we used last time. This is armor equip diamond. This is the sound that it makes whenever you equip diamond armor in the game, which is different from the shield breaking sound because I wanted it to be a little bit different. Now, just remember you can change this out whatever you want, it doesn't really matter. But you have to make sure that this is ambient and at A. Now what we're going to want to do is look at these green text box here. We're going to want to delete these and then paste in our 3 coordinates here. Now I'm going to do the same thing I did last time, and I'm going to delete these 2 when they're offset and change it to the nearest 0.5. And then we're setting it to slightly quieter, but the same pitch as last time, because it doesn't really need to be that loud. You can change these however you see fit. And all we have to do is press Control A, Control C, and then go over to this final command block right here, and paste it in. And now the system's completely done. As you can see, when we walk through, it plays a command, and we're totally done. I wanted to quickly go over some practical uses for this effect. I've loaded up a world that I've been working on for quite a while now, and you can see where I started beginning testing how this works and some final design flaws. You can see that this is a 3x4 instead of a 2x3, but it really doesn't matter. As long as you use the same commands, you should be fine. And you can see inside of the map, outside of these command blocks, is where I actually put them. So this is a door that can be used. It can be used on any axis. You can walk through each of them. It doesn't really matter. And they all still function the exact same. They all play the sound, and it's all very, very cool, and it creates a very immersive experience for anybody playing the games. And as you can tell, when the door closes, not only does it play the particle effect, but you can also see through some of the doors. So you can change this to pretty much whatever block you'd like. Just make sure that it connects to any nearing surfaces as you do it, so no visual artifacts show up whenever you're trying to make animations like this. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. If you have any suggestions for things you guys would like to see in terms of command block tutorials, please let me know, and I'd be happy to give them a try, and I'll see you guys next time.